Okay, I'd like to elaborate on basically the point I've made about the interconnected nature of the universe. I've told you my thoughts and feelings about God, what God is. It's not a man, it's not a being, it's purely an energy, the force that controls everything in our universe. It's inside you, it's inside these trees, it's in the sky, it's in the earth, it's everywhere, just as all the major religions have always described, which is one of the most interesting points, I think, to realise that all major religions basically tell the same story. From Christianity to Judaism to Islam, Hinduism, paganism, all of these belief systems basically tell the same story, but in a different language, with kind of different characters doing things and different situations occurring. But the metaphor, and that's all that they are. They're just metaphors. The metaphor can always be translated to the same meaning. And so the key factor, I think, to consider is the interconnected nature of the universe. Now that's a massive presupposition that my ideologies rely upon, basically. So when I speak, you might identify what you perhaps perceive to be some logical fallacies, because my ideals depend on certain things being true. So A depends on B, and B depends on A, and so on. Of course, if you don't believe that to be true, you'll have a very difficult time believing what I'm saying. But I believe it to be true, and I'll tell you why. Because of the experiences in my life, the awareness that I've gained. I've been in a lot of places in the world, I've seen a lot of things, I've met a lot of people, a lot of things have happened to me, some very good, some very bad. And unless you've had similar experiences, you don't begin to perceive life in the way that I do. I'm not for one moment suggesting that you have not had these experiences, and the fact that you don't perceive life the same as I, it's down to your individual interpretation of events, basically. But the way I've interpreted the events in my life is that there is some kind of overriding theme, some kind of powerful thread running through everything, and I think that's quite clear if you look closely enough at what's going on in your life. And I think there has to come a time when you stop saying, oh, it's just a coincidence, it doesn't mean anything. I think you have to just look at how frequently these things happen and start to ask yourself, what do they mean? So I imagine life as one unit, one whole, everything in the universe, as being part of everything. And basically, it's like if you were to picture some kind of geometric sphere with a lot of dots in the middle, a lot of points. And if you imagine each point as being connected to each other point, going in every single possible direction that you can perceive, and even directions that you cannot perceive, because obviously as human beings our range of perception is quite limited compared with what's actually out there. So yeah, you look at it logically, look at the facts of the situation, and there's certain things that certain things like the water cycle. It rains, the rivers are filled, it gets hot, the clouds are formed, the clouds evaporate, it rains again. We drink the water, our bodies are made of the water, we're over at something like 80% water, the earth is over 80% water, or the surface of the earth at least. Water is in everything, water gives us life, sunlight is everywhere, sunlight brings life. When you don't have sunlight, you die. When you don't have warmth, you die. People get depressed. That's called their seasonally affective disorder. We clearly are at the mercy of the environment and the elements of which it is comprised. These are, like, dare I say, scientific facts. There's the food chain as well. Animals, you know, the fruit and vegetables are the manifestation of sunlight, basically, in physical form, and we use that to feed ourselves. Animals use that to feed themselves. We eat the animals, you know, rightly or wrongly. But everything is moving in one kind of cycle. Everything is connected, and it's kind of clear to see that if you really look at it. Yeah, you know, it's not some crazy like new age philosophy that I'm dealing with. It's just simply a fact of life. And if you believe that your actions and your thoughts and your emotions are, you know, also a part of this fact, then it becomes easier to believe that there is something controlling this. The mistake we often make is to anthropomorphize. Fucking, how do you say that word? Anthropomorphize. That's it, I think. Yeah, the mistake that we often make is to anthropomorphize this force, this energy that is running through everything, and we give it a name and we call it God, or whatever you call it in your different languages, and that makes it hard to swallow for people. But you know, if you are one of these people that cannot accept this idea, I would just like to remind you that it is purely an expression that has been attached to something that is affecting us all. And if you can accept the interconnected nature of everything as displayed by the life systems that we're all subject to, and if you can accept as evidence the events of your life, then I think you can begin to accept the notion that there is something more powerful than you, something beyond you, something great that, you know, is giving life to everything, something that started a long, long time ago and is just continuing to grow, continuing to change. You know, it's something that controls everything, you know, and that's the thing that people have called God. That's the thing that affects all our lives. That's the thing that we need to respect. That's the thing that we need to communicate with wherever possible. You can communicate with this thing through prayer. You can communicate with this thing through meditation. You can communicate with this thing through leading a good and honest life. And you know, you can communicate with this thing through love, basically. That's my perception. Yeah, but you know, it is a leap to take. It is a leap to accept this idea, but you need to accept it because it affects everyone. And whether you believe in it or whether you don't, your life is pretty much governed by it. You know, does it have a will of its own? Probably not. You know, does it make conscious decisions, you know, to cause events happening in the world? Probably not. But we don't know. It certainly seems that way sometimes. And if it seems that way, I think, again, because it's your own perception creating this. You're making it happen because that is the way that you think. So it doesn't really matter if you believe in it or if you don't. You just need to accept that it's there and it's bigger than you. And if you can accept that, hopefully it's going to change the way that you think, and it's going to change the way that you behave, because we need to change the way that we behave. You know, there's a lot of simple indications in life that society is not, you know, running at the optimal level or the optimum level, whatever the word is. Yeah, there's a lot of very simple evidence suggesting that. We just need to look at what's happening in the world today, the way that people are oppressed, the way that people live in a state of fear, the way that people cannot do the things they want to do, the way that people cannot find their happiness because they're trapped into some kind of system that serves no one but the architects of it, a system that serves only itself. You know, and accepting that there's something larger than this system, that modern living is full of, you know, so many ideas that basically have no benefit for the inhabitants of the earth. Accepting this idea will lead us towards change, and we need a change, and that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to post this, I'm going to think a little bit more, and I might post something else later today. Watch my videos, please. I'm Mike Hunt. Thank you.